I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network. For tonight, it will be the Stars and Cars of the iRacing Sprint Car Cup official series, coming to you from the Sunshine State, New Smyrna Speedway in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. My name is Chris Graham, joining the booth, as always, by Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I'll tell you what here, Bizzle, I am really looking forward to this show. 18 to 20 degrees of banking around this half-mile oval. Qualifications just getting underway, but my goodness, man, this one should be pretty darn spectacular, I think.
Yeah, I was actually hoping on running this race, but I kind of bowed out of it. I just can't get my head around this car. It's so difficult to drive. I don't know how I did it for our little 500. I don't know how I ran 498 laps that race because I could barely make it around 5 around this place. It is wild how fast they're turning around here.
That is correct. Zach Evans, by the way, going quick time, top of the board, is the first car to get a lap on the board. Now Dan Smith moving to the top at a 16.027. Oh, buddy. Keep a hold of it there, Zach. Lap number 2 will not be an improvement for Zach Evans as Justin Bullock. Well, he was first, but now Connor Knowlton, car number 12, moves to the top of the board. Oh, my goodness, 15.885 seconds. That is a heater of a lap. Jeffrey Stanton off at turn number 4 over the start-finish line. Lap number 2 for Stanton will be a tick slower, 3/1000ths slower than his first lap. That's a little bit of a surprise here. Let's pick up Rich Foreman as he starts working lap number 2. First lap's going to be a 16.236. Austin Nye on the pit lane, making his way out onto the racetrack. A pile of race cars right now out on the racetrack. Eric Love up to second quick. He's only 7,000ths back, 15.892. Lap number 2 for Rich Foreman going to be good enough for 8th quick. Let's pick up the Red Ream Rocket of Josh Batista, 16.693 seconds. Lap number 1, a little bit disappointing. 18th on the speed charts. See what he can do here on lap number 2. Over the start-finish line for Batista, and his second lap will be only good enough for 13th quick on the board at a 16.178. Some of the heaters are now out on the speedway here. We will pick up. He's the number 98 on the race car, but he's the number 1 in timing and scoring. It is Tracy Petter, bringing an otherworldly 8,222 iRating to this show tonight. That's just ridiculous. Lap number 1 is underway for Tracy Petter, as is for Mitch Drevnovsky, entering as your points leader tonight, but the gap is only 6, separating Drevnovsky from Petter. Lap number 1 for Tracy Petter is going to be good for 16th quick at a 16.193. Drevnovsky 17 flat on lap number 1. Lap 2 for Petter over the start-finish line. It will be good enough for quick time, 15.695, 15.69 with a 5. Nice lap for Tracy Petter. We'll pick up Mitch Drevnovsky. He's going to go second quick, 15.810. Final car to take time will be out on the racetrack, and it will be the Miller High Life Special, the number 5 of Austin, Rich Miller. My goodness. Laps are coming in hot and heavy out here. everybody else has done their qualification runs. Austin Rich Miller is on the board here for lap number 1. Well, under the green flag anyway for lap number 1.
I don't know how they're going to actually race around here. This looks like too much to handle by themselves.
They've definitely got handfuls here. Is Austin Rich Miller going to go 15th quick at a 16.138. No real surprises out in the top 5, except for third place, Connor Knowlton. Second lap for Austin Rich Miller does not improve, so it'll be a 16.138 for Austin Rich Miller. Seeing Dylan checking in the comments. It's nuts how close the times are tonight. Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous. And quite frankly, you'll get to see them here in just a moment as we'll pick up our starting lineup for tonight's race. Let's get the social shouts here out of the way. 15.695, nice lap for Tracy Petter. He will be your quick timer here this evening. Just a tenth of a second back in the second position will be the number 21 Coors Extra Gold entry of Mitch Drevnovsky. Row number 2 will be Connor Knowlton. It's again the car's number 24, but he will be the number 12 in your timing and scoring screens, lining up alongside of the Street Side Classics number 2 of Derek Love. Again, only less than 2/10 separating the top 3. Quarter of a second back to be Jeffrey Stanton out of Rockwell, North Carolina, the Napa Auto Parts number 4. Lining up to his outside will be the number 18 of Dan Smith out of the great state of Indiana. Dylan Vilashinsky lining up inside of row number 4 to his outside will be the number 94 Patco Transportation entry of Andrew Bogus. He will be the 8th in the timing and scoring. Maverick Davis from Michigan on the inside of row number 5 to his outside will be the number 19 of Brian Payne. On row number 6, it will be the Rich Foreman Photography number 7. The car will be the 13 in the timing and scoring of Indiana's Rich Foreman, one of the official photographers for United States Auto Club. Check out his work on the Instagrams and the socials and all that stuff. My God, is he a great photographer. Lining up to his outside, out of Ontario, Canada, will be the number 9 of Joe Adams. Todd Taylor out of South Carolina, the TNT Racing entry, will line up to the inside of Michigan's Justin Bullock in car number 11. Row number 8 on the grid tonight, Austin Rich Miller in the number 5 alongside of the MGS Beast Chassis number 16 of John Mount. Row 9 will have that red ream rocket of Josh Batista. To his outside will be the number 14 of North Carolina's Zach Evans. Dan Holmes on the inside of row number 10 to his outside will be the 22 of Austin Nye. Eric Cox out of Oregon in the Team 5J number 24 alongside of Matthew Bullock in car number 20. The 12th row of the grid, Ronald J. Gibbons out of Canada alongside of New England's Joe Campbell. 24 cars on the entry list here tonight. There's no way this can possibly go poorly. What a spectacular looking field of sprint cars making their way through turns 3 and 4 here at New Smyrna Speedway. Pace car is in, green flag goes in the air. We are underway.
Are there even 24 sprint cars in the real world that run on pavement?
I think they run either 24 or 28 is the real world number. My goodness, great battle already between Petter and Drevnovsky. Oh, we've seen this before. One car going around. That's going to be Dan Smith. And caution is out. Oh, no! Oh.
What was that about?
What? Okay. It looks like Dan Smith went around. We know that one for a fact. That happened. And then it looked like all hell started breaking loose. Let's take a look here and see what we can find. Looks like Austin Nye may have been off track. Let's see. This is the issue with how iRacing does cautions, is it takes us forever to find the replay. Let's see. Oh, several cars making their way down pit lane. Okay, we're still scrolling here, trying to get you the, there we go. Well, we had it for a second there. Let's see. Looks like Todd Taylor may have been involved as well. Let's take a look at the instant replay and see what we can see here. You'll see it next time by. Down there's Dan Smith starting to go around. And then it looked like, yeah, whoever that green car was just got turned around and Dan Smith went for a wild ride off the front of that race car. But it will put us under the caution flag for the first time tonight. And as you can see, we have piles of race cars on pit lane.
And that's sprint car racing for you. It all just falls apart very quickly.
Well, yeah, when it goes to hell really, really fast, but it's going to go back to green just as quick here. And single file restart, it's going to be Tracy Petter grabbing the early lead here on the restart. Mitch Srebnowski putting up a new fastest lap of the race at a 15.764. Good battle starting to heat up for the second or third position between Connor Knowlton and Derek Love, race leaders separated by a couple of car lengths. It's going to be less than a car length now. D-Love having to look down the backstretch. Slides that machine inside of Knowlton through 3 and 4. And both those cars getting squirrely. We're only 5 of 45 laps into this race, Bizzle. And if they're already starting to get squirrely, that's making me a little nervous for later in this race when they start to burn some of the fuel up.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed in my practice and a big reason of why I didn't run this race. Oh, we're under caution.
Yep, caution flag is out. We'll take a look here and see if we can tell who that was. I don't see anything yet. Let's take a look. Possibly an issue for, let's see, maybe Matthew Bullock. Oh, no.
Oh, no, I've seen it.
Wow. Wow. Good Lord. It looks like everybody is cycling through still, so I don't know who that was. Maybe Justin Bullock. There we go. Let's see. Little bit of a twitch.
Yep.
Oh, and just hard into that outside retaining wall.
That's what I love about sprint cars. You would almost say it's unrealistic how that hit the wall and just jumped in the air and started flipping. But I've watched enough sprint car racing in the real world to know that that's exactly what they do. These things, I'm amazed that, like, we don't kill spectators at every sprint car event.
Well, yeah, they definitely, yeah.
A couple years ago at Land of Legends, they had a car go up and over the catch fence, get stuck in a tree, right?
That is correct. Dylan saying crashed out. Can I get an F in the chat? Hey, thank you very much, Sidon, for checking in with that one for him. Shake, Rattle, and Roll is supposed to be the chorus of the song that plays at the end of Clue, not what you do to your race car. Oh, man.
Yeah, I will say that's one thing iRacing needs to improve on, and definitely to be more realistic. You need to be able to break through the catch fence with a sprint car, especially at some of these local tracks. Maybe if you go to, like, Iowa Speedway or something, anything the Indy cars run, the catch fence should be able to hold a sprint car. But like, I've down at Grandview Speedway, the last sprint car race I watched there, they had a car go through the turn 3 catch fence. I mean, these local tracks, it's just chain link fencing put up on some tall posts.
Yeah, that's correct. Some of them are, we'll say, slightly less than safe is probably the way to put it here. I start to wonder, you get a couple of laps in, and with the new oval track racing model that we have, don't call it the new tire model, call it the new oval track model. Are these tires heat cycling? Because it's like if they take the green, they get kind of a lap and a half in, and then we're right back under caution again. I would imagine that can hurt these tires late in the race because they don't have the option to change one.
Yeah, but I think they'll be all right. If these guys are able to wrangle these cars around the track, it's all about throttle control. Even here, you're not really hitting full throttle, so it's going to be something that they can manage.
Oh, green flag goes back to the air. We're underway once again, and it will be Tracy Petter leading the field off turn number 1. But here comes Mitch Drevnovsky having a look inside down the back straightaway. Nothing going there that time. See, trying to look again into 3. You wonder if Petter might be thinking a little bit of a tire save running a higher lane around here. It's going to open the door, but if you get late in the race and if you're thinking you might get a lot of cautions, again, caution laps don't count, so you're just going to keep running and circulating and burning off these tires. I would tend to think maybe a little bit of strategy call here by Tracy Petter running that higher lane.
It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Well, they've been side by side for 3, now 4 laps going up on the scoreboard. We'll watch this tight battle for the lead. Talking a little bit. Oh, well, hold on. We were going to talk about the weather here for a moment, but caution flag is out. Looks like possibly trouble for Eric Cox, as he is still trying to get that car facing back around the right direction. He gets a hip check into the outside wall. Oh, man. One car sliding into him, and he just goes for a tumble. Oh, and then he gets hit again, trying to back the car up. That was the 20 making contact. So we'll go back to the live look of your race leader. Still 35 laps to go as we are working lap number 10. And it's going to be, for the restart, Tracy Petter, followed by Mitch Drevnovsky, Derek Love, Connor Knowlton, Jeffrey Stanton, Andrew Bogus, Rich Foreman, and Brian Payne. Going to talk about the weather. But whether you get enough green flag running for it's another problem. I see what you did there. We'll do it under yellow. 87 degrees under a nighttime sky here at New Smyrna. Track temperature is 91. Is that hot enough to cause issues for these guys in terms of the tires getting greasy, or do you have to get up over kind of that 100-degree track temp mark?
It's warm. It's definitely not like some of the 60-degree track temperatures we tend to see here in the winter. But, I don't know, those numbers make me look very forward to my Daytona trip at the end of the month, though. We've got a forecast up here right on Lake Erie of, I think, 14 inches of snow this Friday, so...
Yeah, we're looking at snow here Saturday, too, and thinking about Daytona in late January for the Rolex 24 sounds wonderful. You enjoy the trip. I'll be covering it from here, the NRN World Broadcast headquarters right outside of Philadelphia. Field cycling through under the caution. And for those of you that may not have seen a ton of these shows, we pull the timing tower down under caution because the way iRacing handles not counting caution laps is when you cross the start-finish line, iRacing says you crashed. When you crash, you get an end-of-line penalty, or it gives you an EOL penalty, basically, when you cross the line. So, Tracy Petter gets an EOL. That puts Mitch Drevnovsky up to the lead, and everybody cycles through that way. So, you kind of rotate the entire field through the timing tower, which is why we take that off the screen so it doesn't give anybody a seizure. Sign-on saying, unironically, I love shoveling snow. It's a happy space for me.
If I can keep up with it, I have no problem shoveling snow. The problem is when you wake up in the morning, there's 14 inches out there, I want nothing to do with it.
I have got a fantastic snowblower, and it takes no time at all to get through that stuff. Green flag goes back in the air. Tracy Petter grabs the early race lead on Mitch Drevnovsky. We'll see how soon that Coors Extra Gold number 21 machine wants to make the move. Derek Love able to hold off Connor Moulton at this point for the third position. Jeffrey Stanton's going to be right there as well. Now with 33 laps to go, Tracy Petter holding that inside lane a little bit, not opening up the door this time for Drevnovsky to have the peak down to the inside. We talked a little bit about the points championship heading into this race. Drevnovsky sitting on 703 points to 697 for Tracy Petter. It's a close battle there. D-Love sitting in third at 624. All of these drivers do have 4 weeks counted already. The first that can make a big jump tonight by picking up this race is Austin Rich Miller, who currently sits in the 6th position. He's on 447 points. So unless he pulls off a win here, he's not going to move himself up towards the top of the charts. Top 2, they're behaving themselves for now. Let's take a look. Let's go a little further back. Pick up Joe Adams and Josh Batista battling for position number 9, but caution flag will come out once again. And we are under yellow for the 3rd time this evening. Let's take a look and see if we can see where the issue is. Possibly Matthew Bullock having an issue towards the back of the pack. Car just gets a little twitchy, noses into the outside wall. Oh man, noses into the inside wall as well. He is able to take the tow. Looked like we may have had another issue as well. Let's take a look here. I believe Joe Campbell having some problems out on the racetrack. This is car number 15. He goes for the big slide down the backstretch. Oh, and huge contact. Oh my goodness.
Well, we started this race with 24.
Yeah, let's take a look here. Ronald Gibbons having the issue. And let's go gyro cam on the car at Gibbons. God, that's nauseating if you're not in VR. My goodness. But he sticks the landing. The Russian judge gives it a 7. Gonna put him on pit road, however. Only to the 1/3 point in this race, as we are still working lap number 16 of 45. Sign on saying that's one way to audition for the Space Force. Yeah. Launch time, actually not all that, New Smyrna, not all that far from Cape Canaveral. Not too crazy far anyway.
Well, I guess in terms of just the Earth, anywhere in Florida is really not that far from Cape Canaveral either. I mean, it's all a hell of a lot closer than, say, Germany is to it.
Yeah. I guess that's one way of looking at it. New Smyrna Beach, by the way, is only about 60 miles away from Cape Canaveral.
It's only right up the road from Daytona, too, right?
That is...
Daytona is in what? New Smyrna County or something like that? Like the township is still...
Yeah, Daytona is actually very, very close. The Daytona International Speedway, only about 17, 18 miles from New Smyrna Speedway. As we'll see field come off at turn number 4, green flag goes back in the air, and it is a great start for Drevnovsky. He's going to make the early look inside of Petter into 1 and 2. Petter able to hold him off there. A little bit further back, Jeffrey Stanton looks like he may be starting to get a little impatient here.
It's very easy to lose your cool and get impatient when you have caution after caution after caution. You just can't build a rhythm. It gets very frustrating very quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I was experiencing it this afternoon in an SK mod race. Guy in front of you can't hold a line. Oh, big hit into the back wall. I believe that was Austin Rich Miller. Well, no, it was not. Gosh, who was that? Man, that was a big hit, though. Miller tried to hold off Josh Batista in that battle for the 9th position. Brian Payne was the driver that got into the backstretch wall. Pretty good fights kind of throughout the field here. The top 6 have separated themselves out from 7th place Rich Foreman by about 2.8 seconds. As Foreman gets way squirrely off of turn number 2 that time. He's going to give up a couple of positions as Austin Rich Miller clears. Now Josh Batista going to have to look down inside into 1. Foreman tried to slam the door, but it's just not going to be there. Batista has to back out of it, keep from losing the back end of the race car, so Foreman able to slot back down towards the inside of the speedway at the exit of turn number 2. This is a great battle deep in the pack. Austin Rich Miller now having a look inside of Joe Adams. He's going to get that pass completed. Now Foreman able to hold off Josh Batista, but that Red Ring Rocket trying to make the outside lane work here around New Smyrna. And it's tough. This place is a half mile, so you think Bristol, Martinsville, kind of big-ish on the short track side of things. But with the amount of banking and how fast you go down the straightaways, this place drives a lot quicker than it actually feels.
Yeah, man, big moment there for the 20.
Oh, Batista goes around, a couple of cars making contact. Oh, that was also Connor Knowlton spinning out of a front position. But we're going to stay under green, it looks like. Let's take a look and see what happened to Knowlton. Oh, he got some help.
Oh, he got turned.
Please, no Punterino down the front stretch. Now we're going to stay green. It's going to be Tracy Petter holding a half-second advantage over Mitch Drevnovsky. D-Love, Andrew Bogus, Jeffrey Stanton running back through the 5th position. Joe Adams quickly closing in on Austin Rich Miller.
I was going to say that should have been a caution, but I'm going to cut some slack to the flagman. He's probably very tired after this first portion of the race.
That is correct. Barney's just decided, screw it. Now we have 14 cars remaining on the lead lap. Josh Batista would be the next car to go 1 lap down. He's 15 and change seconds back of your race leaders. In fact, there you can see the number 20 just up ahead of race leader Tracy Petter. Just not the season that Josh Batista has wanted to this point in 2024 season 1. Currently sitting in the 8th position in points, only 387 markers on the season, as Batista clears up well to the outside of the racetrack. Let your race leader Tracy Petter through. And something we haven't mentioned yet here, Bizzle, is that this is, for being a full field, this is a pretty darn good SOF, 3,023. There's a lot of points on offer here tonight if you can take advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if you join this on your old iRacing account, even though we didn't split tonight, I'm still not sure you would have made this top split.
You're a funny guy. Actually, let us know in the comments. We make jokes about my low I rating. However, I have reactivated my OG iRacing account that dates back to like 2010. I am a D-Class 1 point something license on ovals, pavement ovals, and rookies across the board. With the Sim Racers Club merging, I don't think we're going to be broadcasting them because they're moving to a weekend night. And quite frankly, we don't work weekends because of our real world stuff. Do you want to see on that Wednesday night time slot me driving low split stuff on iRacing? If you want to see it,
it'd be comical.
I think it would be fun. We could have Bizzle spotting. I will drive everything under the sun.
I'll pour a nice tall drink in my hand and spot for you with one eye open, and I'll probably still guide you through wrecks better than the iRacing spotter could.
Sounds absolutely correct. Maverick Davis, by the way, in the 6, battling with Austin Rich Miller in the 5. Very nice Brian Clausen throwback on car number 6, the Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Beast Chassis number 6. He's able to hold off the spot. Rich Foreman and Joe Adams now battling side by side. Tracy Petter has checked out 1.4 seconds up on Mitch Drevnovsky. Drevnovsky picking up the first 2 wins of the broadcast season. Tracy Petter trying to pick up rounds number 3 and 4. He did it 1 week ago. Trying to do it again here tonight as we are working lap number 43 of 45. And like I said, he go. By the way, Bizzle, the comments are rolling in. Jason Gardner saying bottom split racing. Yes. Dylan wants to see it. Sign-On wants to see it. I think we might have Wednesday night content. I will put some cameras up here in the broadcast HQ, and that might become a Wednesday night thing.
Why? So you can show off your 20-year-old rig and your monitor that's not centered with your wheel?
That is correct. White flag is out. Final lap for Tracy Petter. The lead is now almost 2 seconds. He's off at turn number 4. Twin checkers in the air, and Tracy Petter picks up the win at New Smyrna. Oh, maybe a little bit of a bobble here for Mitch Drevnovsky, but he holds off Derek Love by, quite frankly, not much. We'll show you. We'll get the instant replay ready on that one here. First, we'll take a look at Tracy Petter, your race winner, very quickly. Pulls it into victory lane and says, I'm out of here. Fire up the replay here and see what may have happened to Mitch Drevnovsky on the white flag lap. Well, D-Love was right there. Man, I tell you what, that's what makes this place so tough. There's just nowhere to go. D-Love may have been quicker, but it did not matter. As Mitch Drevnovsky able to hold off Derek Love for position number 2, as we'll go back to the live look here. And first things first, before we get to our victory lane interviews, let's show you your final race results. Tracy Petter by nearly 2 seconds over Drevnovsky. D-Love coming home 3rd. Andrew Bogus and Jeffrey Stanton complete the top 5. Nice run for Maverick Davis up there, putting car number 6 in position number 6, followed by Rich Foreman, Joe Adams, Austin Rich Miller, and Todd Taylor. Dan Holmes, Zach Evans, John Mount, Josh Batista, and Connor Knowlton back through the 15th position. Everybody from Knowlton on back having some pretty serious issues at various points tonight. Austin Nye, Brian Payne, Joe Campbell, Ronald Gibbons, and Matthew Bullock back through the 20th position. Final page of the leaderboard, we'll see Eric Cox, Justin Bullock, Dan Smith, and Dylan Vilashinsky. Unfortunately for Dylan, going out way early in this race and checking in the comments long before he wanted to. Now it's time for us to head on down to victory lane and pick up our race winner tonight, Mr. Tracy Petter. And Man, I'll tell you what, Tracy, that car looked really good, but it was an incredible battle you had with Mitch early on in this race. Talk us through that a little bit, because side by side here at New Smyrna is not exactly the easiest thing to pull off.
No, it was pretty sketchy. We made contact. At least it gave us a 0x. I don't know if it was netcode or not, but that probably should have been a wreck right there. It's tough.
Yeah, and then especially when you couple that with the early race issues of just kind of run a couple laps, caution, how hard is it to settle into a rhythm when you're trying to battle like that and have to go stop, go?
I run pretty low tire pressure, so I need some laps to build up the heat, so the set's pretty loose. And he was running a little bit of a taller gear, so he'd get a little bit more pull down the straightaway, so he was really good on restarts if he timed it. So that once he got under, I honestly thought he was going to pass me. I was very tight when I had to run way high in the corners.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic show that you guys put on for us here. Now, as we start to look ahead a little bit, looks like we're heading off to South Boston Speedway next week. A little bit different from this place, but it seems, I guess, every week the sprint cars, you're going to run a bull ring of some sort. What are your thoughts on that one? Because now Mitch has 2 wins. You've got 2 broadcast wins on the season. It should be a pretty tight points battle here as we get to the 1/3 point.
Yeah, it'll be a close one probably the whole season. For Sobo, I'm just hoping it's not a hot track top. It's a pain to drive there when it's hot.
Yeah, everybody going, it's like a slip and slide out there trying to keep these cars underneath you. Well, Tracy, congratulations on the win. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and shout outs you want to get in.
Yeah, well, as always, thanks for broadcasting it, and shout out to EPA.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And now it's time for us to talk to our runner-up finisher tonight, Mr. Mitch Drevnovsky. And I'll tell you what, Mitch, the battle, I think kind of similar question to what I just asked Tracy. How much fun was that battle that you had in the early part of this race? Because side by side at New Smyrna, he called it sketchy. Pucker Factor Zulu, a lot going on there.
Yeah, it was fun. It was, especially, in the beginning, we had those couple quick yellows, and I was able to take a shot at him, but the longer the run went on, the worse my car got, and he just kind of got away, and I kind of just had to settle for keeping it together in second. But one of the times I got under him, and we touched a little bit, and luckily it didn't wreck either of us, but it's just super tough to pass here and set up a run to even try to make a pass, so he was just the guy to beat tonight, and just was a little bit off, so good job to him, and gonna try to be better.
Well, yeah, and then you ended up in a very tight battle with Derek over the last handful of laps as well. I guess it's kind of a different focus. You go from playing offense to having to play defense. That's a big switch over those last 10 or 15 laps.
Yeah, I think that just the car fired off good on the restarts, and I had about maybe 5 laps in it where I could try to attack and get under him or whatever was going to work to get by him. But once those laps went away, we got 10, 15, 20 laps into a run. I don't know how long that last run was. The car just went away, and we had that long run there at the end all the way to the checkered, and Derek started to come in, so I was just trying to not wreck the car, and once he got to me, just try to play a little bit of defense and not open up any lane for him to get by.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, a great drive tonight, picking up your 4th consecutive podium finish here in the Broadcast SOF races. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go here, do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs, too.
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone at EPI, all the guys at SRS, everyone for coming out and racing every week. Makes it a lot of fun, and of course you guys for doing the broadcast, because it's always fun to go watch back, and we're getting new people every week. So
yes, I'm enjoying that. We're seeing full fields and darn near splits here on SOF night, which is pretty darn spectacular. Mitch, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And now it's time to talk to our 3rd place finisher tonight, Mr. Derek Love. And man, Derek, I got to ask you, how frustrating is it to get there? You do all that work, you catch Mitch with 2-3 laps to go, whatever it is, and then there's just nowhere to get by him. How frustrating is that?
We actually played it back. We did this earlier at the 6 o'clock race, and he ended up making a little bit bigger mistake in that race in the 6 p.m. one, and I was able to get right to him, and I actually got to his inside on the last lap on that race. But just, yeah, there's nowhere to go. It's so tough. The competition's so tight that you're really just waiting for that mistake. You know, and those guys aren't going to make it, man. Tracy was on rails with that car. That thing was a rocket ship. Well, I recognized the talent there and the setup they had, man, and I was happy to take that third, bring it home with that.
Well, I'll tell you what, over the last 5 laps of the race, you were quicker by about a 1/10.5 over both of the guys ahead of you, making up a ton of ground. Do you build the setup for that to be kind of a longer run car, or at least to be really good late in the race and maybe not as good early?
Yeah, I do. That's how my setups tend to be. I'm trying to dial that back a little bit because it really depends on, I need that caution or something, you know, I need that opportunity. And sometimes if the car falls too far back, I'm not going to be able to be up there in time. So a little bit of finding that balance between it. I think that's kind of why the car, you know, it's a little lazy on the restarts. So always trying to find that sweet spot there.
Yeah, especially when it comes to gearing for the restarts, because this thing will want to hook. It'll hook right if you're at full throttle. It'll hook left if you're off throttle. There's a lot going on there, and quite frankly, I would say this is probably one of the hardest cars to set up on the platform.
Yeah, it really is, just because there's a lot of variables. You can't just put your foot all the way into it and it does the same thing over and over. It's going to be different every lap. The trickiest part of this setup for here at this track was actually loose end. The car just wanting to come around on the entry, and it's probably a little bit just overdriving it. So maybe that's just the biggest challenge here, is just it's easy to overdrive. But that was the hardest thing to really set up. Exit of the corner was a little tricky on some of them, but I could manage that a little bit better.
Well, I'll tell you what, great drive tonight. Nice job picking up the gap there on Mitch late in the race, and congratulations on another podium here on Sprint Car SOF night. Looking forward to talking to you possibly tomorrow night. When the Silver Crowns head off to Dover. Congratulations on the podium, and before we let you go, do all those sponsor plugs and shout-outs here, too.
Yeah, shout out you guys. Street Side Classics machine here, and you're right, we'll see you in Dover tomorrow. See you then.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here on a, quite frankly, pretty darn spectacular Tuesday night. Bizzle, this one was a little bit interesting, I guess is the right word to use. It almost had an SRC feel to it, where you got a bunch of cautions early and then a long green flag run to close out the race.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun to watch. I mean, you put 24 sprint cars on any circuit, even put them on Daytona for whatever you want. You're going to have crashes. These things, they don't like to turn. They don't like to go in a straight line. They don't even like to sit still. I was in a 305 dirt sprint car race earlier today, and the top split, not even like a bottom split race, top split, before we even made out of pit lane, a driver rear-ended another car. So, it's sprint car racing, it's going to happen, but once we got all of that shenaniganry out of the way, the end of this race was fantastic. We had good battles, everyone kept it together, and kept the cars pointing in the right direction.
Yeah, it was a pretty darn good show we got here tonight out of the Sprint Car Cup guys. Looking forward to seeing next week when we head off to South Boston Speedway. But first, we got to get a couple more races through this week. Tomorrow night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Silver Crown Cup cars head off to Dover Motor Speedway down there in the first state of Delaware. I'm looking forward to that one. I'll actually be doing some driving in that to prep for the broadcast tomorrow. That one should be a pretty good show because Dover's not easy in the Silver Crowns. And then on Thursday night, the USF Pros, the Indy Pro 2000 cars, making their way off to one of North America's great road courses, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Watching those guys blast through the corkscrew is going to be a ton of fun, and quite frankly, a lot of drafting going on at that racetrack as well. It's very high speed for the PM18 car. We're looking forward to bringing that one to you too, but now we got to start with Bizzle and I. We got to discuss a Wednesday night show here, I think, because the commenters want it, so maybe we'll give it to you guys starting, I guess it won't be tomorrow night, it'll be the following week, but maybe we'll show me doing some bottom split driving because it is worth the comedy gold that comes out of it. Looking forward to that. And I guess we'll see you guys all tomorrow night when we come to you from Dover Motor Speedway down there in Delaware. For Patrick Byrne and everybody else here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.